Welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today I am going to be reviewing two Cadenheads, two Benrinnes, Battle of the Benrinnes, Battle of the Cadenhead Benrinnes. So Benrinnes, I've reviewed a Benrinnes before, but I will let you know again what it is. A Benrinnes is a Speyside whiskey. Most Benrinnes are actually put into blends, so you're not going to get many of them in single malt expressions unless it's the flora and fauna range, which can be hit and miss as well. These two are bourbon barrels. Okay, so these two are bourbon barrels, and so I'm doing a side by side on them to highlight age, flavor, influence differentials between the two, because one of them is 18 years old, the other one is 23 years old, and they're pretty much, for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same whiskey, just older. And so I'm doing a side by side on them today. Cadenhead is known for their more rustic tasting and rustic type of barrelings, because they do have dunnage warehousing as well. But yeah, let's give it a go. Benrinnes is also condensed in a worm tub, which only a very few distilleries out there still do. Worm tubs is quite a rudimentary way of doing things, and so you get heavier elements into the final product, and that gives you a more chewy, full-bodied whiskey experience as well. So let's begin. Let's start with 18 with no water. It is 55.7%. As you can see, it's a beautiful day out here in Auckland City today. A little bit of drizzle, umbrella, whiskey. What else? That's quite a dense nose straight away. Very dense nose, quite sweet. A little bit of tannin, a little bit of oak. You can definitely tell it's a bourbon influence in there. There's a perfume to it that I absolutely love. There's a damp wood smell. Not too much, but a little damp wood. Citrus rind, I can't quite put my finger on what citrus it is. I will hazard a guess to say it's lemon. A jammy smell, a condensed fruit jammy smell. I'd say it's a citrus jam as well. Let's go with orange jam, candied orange. There's a creaminess to this whiskey. It's a very nice smelling whiskey. It's quite intensely flavored. Now let's nose the 23-year-old. Oh wow, so straight away there is a marked difference between the two, huge difference. Straight away I am getting a much more wood in the 23, much more wood, much more damp wood. The tannin is a lot heavier, and I'm getting a herbal smell to this. It's really strange. Cedar, like when you open a humidor. A slight herbal note to it, like almost a little bit reminiscent to a coriander root or cilantro root. And a slight ginseng smell as well, like a chalky ginseng smell. Really strange. Wow, the two are just chalk and cheese, eh? It's just so different. This is the amazing thing about it. You know, just the smell of it is so different. I mean, there is a commonality, but this one here has less creaminess, but it's a little bit more sickly sweetness to it. Organic matter I'm getting with a 23-year-old, but the nose is actually softer. Even though it's more complex, it's softer than the 18. The 23-year-old has a distinct savouriness to it. Yeah, that's just amazing. I mean, if you get a chance to do this, make sure you do, because side by siding them, it's just an absolutely insane experience. Because when you have them one after the other, sometimes it's hard to remember, but when you're nosing side by side, much bigger on the nose, less intense on the nose, more intense on the nose, a bit floral, a little sickly sweeter. It's just, yeah, a little herbally as well. A bit of licorice in this as well. There's a slight acidity to this, a slight acidity. Fantastic, fantastic. And it's a little more dank, a little bit more fusty, a little bit more smelly, but not like a normal Springbank or Longrow or anything like that. Actually owned by the same company, same group. So let's try the 18. Wow, what a mouthful. That is a mouthful right there. I'm definitely getting lemon peel, citrus is a theme I'm getting. Toffee, sugar syrup, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of honey. There's a slight heat to it. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe a slight black pepper heat, very slight. There's a spice. I can't tell you what that spice is, but there is a spice to it, an aroma that I can't put my finger on. Quite a mouthful, quite a chewy mouthful, quite complex. It's a big whiskey. It's a delicious whiskey. Slight tannin. Would I say it's well balanced? No, it's not well balanced, but that's not what you want from a whiskey generally all the time. It's definitely a very experiential whiskey, tasty. I could even say it's borderline on a session whiskey, this one. It is heavy though, it is a heavy whiskey, quite a fatty, heavy whiskey. Waxy, slight oiliness there. Now let's try the 23. Rinse my mouth a little. The 23 is much more tapered and mellow. It is, after all, about 4% less alcohol. This is 51.1%. This is 55.7%. But the 4% is not usually a big difference. But this is definitely a more mellow mouthfeel. It is oilier mouthfeel, heavier tannin. It is actually, it's heavier in oil, heavier in tannin, but it is a much more mellow whiskey. This is quite big. It pops in the mouth. This one, I'm getting the smell of bruised fruit. I'm getting organic matter, damp wood. The spice is very much tapered. I'm getting a slight funkiness to it. Like overripe fruit, probably from the bruised fruit that I mentioned before. And the taste is a slight sickly sweetness to the taste as well. And definitely that herbal note, licorice, a little bit of ginseng, a little bit of cilantro influence. That is two very different types of whiskey. So this is what amazes me. Same distillery, same barrels, same company bottling them, but 18 and 23, the difference is marked. Let me add some water. Now we've added water, let's do a side by side with water. The citrus comes out a lot more with water. Actually, the citrus just becomes overarching. Wow. It's almost very lemony now. Fresh squeezed lemon right there. The 23, the herbal savoriness pops a lot. Woo, that pops in your face. Ginseng is much heavier, tannin is much heavier. Ooh, that becomes a little bit more fierier with water, that 18. Not sure if I like it. And the floral nature of it becomes quite overpowering. Actually, it kind of like it drowns a lot of the other flavors. I will say now, no water on the 18. Let's try the 23. You know what? I'll also say no water on the 23. All of its gusto and all of its power has just disappeared. It's just become a little bit too mellow. It's become generic whiskey with a little bit of here and there, nothing too exciting. I would say don't add water on that either. The herbalness comes through, but really what I'm getting now with a little bit of water is that overwhelming tannin. So much tannin. It's just so woody now. So no, I wouldn't recommend that. And a really, really strange perfume as well starts to come out. Look, no water. Would I buy these two again? Yes, I would. They're probably still available from your local Cadenhead dealer, so ask for them. I would suggest you buy both at the same time and then do a side by side. The progression between this and this is fantastic. Would I pick which one's better? No, they're both equally as good. They have their own merits. If I had to pick one, I'd pick the 23. It is a little bit more complex and palatable, but this one is also very powerful. So it is powerful, not as complex, but look, I'd struggle to pick one. Cigar pairings, wow, look, I think that the nature of the whiskies, they're both quite heavy, they're full of flavor. You'd need something either quite mellow just to have that cigar experience, like a very mild Cuban, or I would have something that's quite powerful as well. Be careful, it might drown them, although I don't think it will, because these are pretty beastly whiskies. So I'd say maybe like Arturo Fuentes Añejo, Alec Bradley Fine and Rare, or an LFD Dominican, something that's quite punchy in flavor. So either or can work, but you might have to go to the extremes of both. I think anything in the middle might just get lost, and it might just get a little bit confusing on the palate. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you again. Until then, make sure you eat, smoke, and drink.